It's awful. It's all fucking awful! It's all of it, and every single one of them sucks!
So I've been getting a lot of comments from, people who wanted me to discuss the new Thomas All Engines Go Season 25 reboot. And my opinions on it have not changed at all. This video isn't going to be the typical video where I'm going to be cracking jokes and going to be, haha, funny, bombastic me. This is going to be a much more calculated video talking about it and just why it is bad. I'm going to be covering elements that are going to talk about both, my opinions on it, debunking a lot of the arguments that people who are in favor of this have, and then lastly, talking about people who are on the same side as me who think it's bad, that are being overly toxic. So this video is going to be covering a lot of different things. So without further ado, let's get into it. So my initial thoughts when I was watching that first episode, I kid you not, internally, it felt wrong. Because I was watching this and I was just like, this is the replacement for the show that I and millions of other people have come to know and love through all of these years. This is the norm, and there's nothing we can say or do about it. And it's quite frankly the saddest thing I think I've ever seen. I wouldn't be upset if Thomas had ended if it had ended with more closure. Big World Big Adventures happened, and I've already talked about why that is complete dog shit. I and many others have already made our 2 cents heard on that. But Big World Big Adventures just kind of happened, and then it immediately jumps to this. There was no closure at all on CGI Thomas, and it's just like, oh yeah, this stuff where we added new characters, added new elements, we didn't even go back and fix anything, we're just gonna drop that, let's just jump into this. It's the new Thomas, here you go, accept this. I honestly don't understand how people could really sit and say, yeah, this makes sense, this is okay. I feel like it's insanely scummy. Because Thomas and Friends is a series that was founded upon the fact of not talking down to its audience, and it was always handled with care. There have been some hiccups in the road, like for example the Sharon Miller era, the Hit era that kind of simplified the show. But overall, the people who worked on it, in the original Railway series, Britt Allcroft, Andrew Brenner, even Hit, I will say, even with the baby episodes and all that, it was very clear that behind the scenes, the people who were working with those props really did care about them, and they really did care about this franchise. And notice how when it's very evident that, a lot of time and passion is put into something, we gravitate towards that. We always praise Andrew Brenner's work, Britt Allcroft's work. We literally sucked the tit of Wilbert Audrey for the succulent substance of the Railway series lore. And the reason why we cling to that is because it was made by people who actually cared. Thomas All Engines Go does not feel like something that was made out of passion. It doesn't feel like it was made out of someone sat there and was like, this is a good thing. We need to do this because we care about it. This wasn't done out of that. This was done out of a corporate decision to make Thomas, appeal to the younger audiences by copying what everyone else did. The whole Total Drama-rama thing where they take popular characters and make them into babies. You have Total Drama-rama, the SpongeBob Camp Kroll stuff, a lot of other examples too. These reboots don't ever work, and the reason why is because when you take existing properties and do that, it's very clear that you're just trying to capitalize off of it. Mattel, whether you want to admit it or not, it is complete bullshit to sit there and disregard your adult following. One of the arguments that I hear all the time is that this is a kid's show. This is a show that's aimed at children. You can't be expected to be pandered to. I think that claim is complete horseshit. And the reason why, imagine if the same thing that, they did with Thomas, imagine if this happened to Mario, or Sonic, or to Lego, or to SpongeBob, or to anything Disney.
No, it's fine, it doesn't bother me, it bothers me a lot, and that one's still green!
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm usually far more composed. I'm just a little bit absolutely livid.
Imagine if they just took all your beloved properties and just said, Yeah, we're not doing this because we care about it. We're doing it because we see you as something that we can milk. And that's where my issue comes in. People will be so quick to say that Thomas is a baby show, but you have to be aware in the fact that, properties like Mario and Sonic, Nintendo, they've been around for a long time in the same vein as Thomas and Friends. When they started out, yeah, they were aimed at children. But as time goes on, those children that they pandered to in the 80s and stuff, they grew up and they followed that property. So what do you have now? An adult following. Thomas and Friends is no spring chicken. So for people trying to compare it to something like Paw Patrol and Cocomelon and saying that, oh, these guys are doing it, you have to fit in, you have to do what these guys are doing. One thing that they have never mentioned is that these are recent shows. Paw Patrol came out in like 2010, 2011 or something, and Cocomelon really didn't blow up until like 2017, 2018. These are fairly recent properties where the target audience, which is kids, aren't adults yet. So these don't really have big adult followings like how other things do. Mark my words, in about 10, 20 years time, people will be praising Cocomelon the same way that we're out here praising Thomas the Tank Engine.
Jesus Christ, how horrifying.
So as I said earlier, imagine if Nintendo were to take all the Mario games and to just completely dumb them down and babyfy them just for the sake of, oh, we're a kids company, we know that the kids like it. No. If you know that you have a series that has an adult following, you have to put them under consideration. You can't just look at one side of the coin. You have to look at all factors and variables of where your income is coming from. Thomas and Friends definitely fits the bill. And for the outsiders looking in who are also saying stuff like, oh, it's just a kid's property, grow up, let it go, I guarantee they're the same fuckwads who have Disney Plus accounts and spend more time on there than they do interacting with people. So please, do us all a favor and shut the fuck up with your damn hypocrisy. We're all kids at heart, and we all have that one property that is aimed at children that we still love so desperately. So this whole argument to saying that, oh, Thomas and Friends can't pander to its adult following is bullshit. Because if other companies are clearly doing it and it's working, then I don't see why Thomas and Friends can't. Now with saying that, I know people are just going to take that message as, oh, the show isn't going to entirely pander to adults. I don't mean it to come off as to only focus on adults. Of course you want to focus on both child audience and your adult following. But there are ways to make it work. As I said, look at things like Nintendo and Sega and things along those lines. There are clearly ways to go about it where you can make both sides of the coin happy. Hell, even Thomas and Friends did it itself too. Remember back in 2015 when we were getting banger after banger, good merchandise, good movies, good episodes? Man, oh man, what a time to be a Thomas fan. Another thing that I see a lot is people saying that, oh, you just hate it because of change. Let me give you the perfect analogy for this situation. This is season 4 Scarlowy right here. We all love him. This right here is the reason why he's one of Thomas and Friends' most popular characters and beloved by fans. This here is Hit Entertainment's version of Scarlowy, where they completely took this Scarlowy and disregarded him. Him being an older engine who was, not afraid to put himself in danger for the sake of his friends and his railway. If you want to really go more into it, I highly recommend Unlucky Tug's video on it. But when they made this, they just said, oh yeah, that Scarlowy you know and love, the reason why he is as popular as he is, forget him. Completely disregard him, act like he doesn't exist. This is Scarlowy. This is who you have to accept now. When this Scarlowy came about and he was, in a sense, a dumb, scared little child, they made all of the narrow gauge engines seem like children rather than older engines. As Unlucky Tug put it, they saw them as small engines, let's make them small babies. And everyone hated it. Fans and kids alike look at this and are just like, that's not Scarlowy. This is dumb. In the same vein of Thomas and Friends, you can't just have years and years of this stuff that we're all used to, you know, what made Thomas and Friends last as long as it did, and completely disregard it and say, act like this didn't exist. Don't regard it in any degree. This is Thomas now. This is who you have to focus on. This is the normal, and you have to accept it. Trying to say that this is Thomas is bullshit. You know, there was no closure on the CGI series. And, you know, I don't want to hate on this series. All Engines Go has potential. As I said before in my first rant video on this, I think that this would have been a perfect spin-off show to have run alongside the main show. But they didn't do that. They said, this is the norm. This is Thomas now. Accept it. This is the guy. If you have a series like Thomas the Tank Engine, you need to handle it with respect, because you're working with a series that has had over 70 years of people who worked on it, who cared about what they were doing. This is a property that was made by people who loved railways, who loved Thomas, and wanted to portray what made Thomas right, what made Thomas good. It's the same reason why we praise Wilbert Audrey, Britt Allcraft, David Mitten, Andrew Brenner, because those are people who took the franchise and it was very evident they gave a shit about it. They respected its history. They respected everything that came before it. But these guys, you know, Sharon Miller, honestly, she had potential, but she just didn't know what the fuck she was doing. And then you have All Engines Go and Big World Big Adventures. They weren't made out of passion, they were made out of obligation. Big World Big Adventures was made to appeal to those people who said Thomas wasn't diverse enough. Thomas and Friends didn't have enough gender equality. These were clearly claims made by people who didn't watch Thomas, because if you have seen Thomas and Friends, there is a lot of diversity in Thomas and Friends in terms of characters, from both male and female characters. And if you really wanted to increase gender balance, just give more episodes to females and have them be the leads. Simple as that. As for Thomas All Engines Go, this is clearly something that was made. They looked at all of the other popular kid shows and said, yeah, let's just do what they're doing. The whole reason why Thomas stood out was because it wasn't that. Thomas and Friends was a much more slower paced show that didn't talk down to its audience. That's the whole damn reason it was made, because the Wilbert Audrey literally said the whole purpose behind the Railway series was making stories that parents could pick up if they're reading it over and over and over to their kids. He wanted them to also be able to take something for it. Not so it's just like saying, the itsy bitsy spider, over and over and over again. And if you look at the style guides under Britt Allcraft, it was also said, Thomas is not a cartoon. Thomas is more than a cartoon. You know, and if you have that in your damn style guide, you know, the things that are literally the foundation that you give to new employees so they know what your show's about, you know that that's not a line you want to cross. It was very clear from the get-go that Thomas and Friends just doesn't blend well to this. If you want a show that has flashy visuals, crazy anthropomorphic characters, then don't do it with something like Thomas that has a complete long line of history and rich lore behind it. You can't sit here and just say accept this and disregard that, because that's not what Thomas is. Now, with all of these arguments, there are some things I do like about it. You know, for example, I think the voice acting for the older, quote, older characters like the bigger tender engines, Gordon's voice, James's voice, they're spectacular. Like, if they ever were to revert back to just normal CGI Thomas, I'd love to see those voice actors keep the roles if they ever were to bring back CGI Thomas. No doubts about that. They're insanely good. The tank engines is my problem, though, is the fact that they made them kids. I kid you not, if you close your eyes and watch the episode and just listen to it, imagine you're watching Paw Patrol. You won't tell a difference. You genuinely can, like, not tell the difference. And now, of course, with saying that, I don't want to shit on the kid voice actors in this, because what if these kids are just trying to get into voice acting, have a good time? I don't want to say that they're bad voice actors. I just want to say that their voice acting don't fit the Thomas characters. I wish these voice actors nothing but the best in all of their endeavors. Another thing that I do think is fun is the animation itself. It is charming. I won't deny that fact. It does have a certain charm to it. I said it once and I'll say it again. If this was a show that was running alongside CGI Thomas as a little spin-off show, or hell, even a little book series, I think it would have thrived. It would have been honestly insanely, I think it would have worked. Because now you're getting a hold of that younger child audience and building them up to the Thomas and Friends that, you know, quote, mature people like, if that makes any sense. You know, I would honestly take it if we got fewer episodes of CGI with simultaneous episodes of this, or like maybe make the Thomas All Engines Go into like 2-minute segments and post them on YouTube or put them on DVDs or something. I don't know. I just feel like as a spin-off show this could have worked, but as a full-on standalone thing, it's so generic and uninspired. You can put this alongside any other modern kids show and you really can't tell much of a difference. As for this last section, it's going to go towards the fan base. This is going to go towards the people who do agree with what I'm saying, that the reboot is bad, but it's mainly the younger people who are like 12 and 15 who are lashing out at people saying that, oh, if you support this, you're not a real Thomas fan. It's not the time for that, guys. It is not the time to be going and having wars with people on the internet. I've seen literal friendships in this community end over this shit. It's fucking ridiculous. You're giving what those stupid internet trolls say, like, Thomas, the community's so cringy, oh my god, so funny, look at them argue. You're giving fuel to that fire. You're giving these assholes what they want. Hell, there have been fucking articles floating around about parents complaining that their kids were, quote, afraid of the redesign of Thomas. Okay, I'm sorry. As much as I hate the show, if your child looks at this and is afraid, there's something wrong with your child. If your child is genuinely afraid of finding this thing under their bed, your child has no hope in this world. That is quite frankly ridiculous. It's literally the equivalent of saying, oh god, I'm terrified of baby Courtney from Total Drama-Rama. If you are a real Thomas fan, and I really do mean this, if you are a true Thomas fan, you wouldn't be arguing over this shit going back and forth. Agree to disagree, but in the end, come together, guys. You know, put your differences aside and just realize this is all we fucking have now. This is the last keystone of the already collapsing bridge. The fan base is the only thing that's really gonna keep the true message of Thomas alive. Mattel clearly doesn't give a shit about the franchise. They just see it as a big cash cow. Us fans are the final keystone into really preserving Thomas and Friends and to really show people what made it good. So if you are a true Thomas fan, show your support to the series in terms of make your own content and come together and stay strong as a community. All this petty argument and going back and forth and all that, it's not worth it. It really isn't worth it. Thomas is already dead. The last thing we need to see is the community die too. That's really all I have to say for this video, guys. Next video I make is going to be much more lighthearted and fun. It's going to be an unboxing video. Got a package sent from my good pal Jack from Fancy Engine. So be sure to look out for that. That's all I got to say, fellas. Thank you all so much for watching. And Thomas, thank you for all the years that you've made me happy through the most tough times of my life. You'll never be forgotten. Goodbye.